All right, welcome back to Bitcoin Advisors channel where everything is fun. By the way, we are doing a Friday Fun Day Zoom meeting where people can join in our Zoom meeting, fun meeting. So if you DM us on social media, we'll add you to that Friday morning call. Okay, and so yes, there has been some major developments in the market. In fact, I'm sure everybody heard, right? Inflation numbers came out last week or a week or two ago, 7.5%. It was the highest we've seen in 40 years. And the Fed is going to be raising interest rates starting next month, which is horrible for stocks. And that coupled with probably the most scary thing I've heard over the last 2 weeks. In fact, I heard it this morning, which was Putin's comments. He said something like this. He said, yes, the U.S. and its allies can beat us economically and they can beat us at war. However, we still have nukes. So all jokes aside, right, I think he's not crazy enough to hit the red button, but, that's why gold is rallying right now, I believe. Gold just broke above $1,900. And what I have been saying about gold over the past few weeks is this, is if we can get a weekly closure above 1910 here, I think gold definitely revisits the highs of $2,050 an ounce. And if we throw on a fib retracement, this long consolidation here, that's a bearish retracement I have up there. But if we throw up a bullish retracement to kind of get our next target on gold, I'd probably do something like this and say, yeah, any kind of even a daily, really, I don't think a daily gets it, but a weekly closure, which the week for gold will close on Sunday. And any kind of a weekly closure above 1910 gets you a move at least to 1996 with a short-term pullback and probably continuation to the upside. I do believe that gold will have some headwinds. Why? Because the dollar is rallying and still holding at that 96 mark, which is kind of bad for stocks and in general, if you ask me. And so taking a look at kind of the first things I peruse here in the morning, which is Nasdaq down 65, S&P's down 11. And did we break the daily support level? I would say pretty much this has been broken. However, what else do we have here? So if I'm looking at Nasdaq, did we actually get the measure move off of this thing? I think we did. Let me just take a look here. And so how would we measure this guy out? Something like this, right? You take the about 50% the middle of the channel, and yeah, I mean that's the measure move on the breakage on this guy. So down here, and that's coming right in, if I can make a straight line here this morning, right in line with this support area. And if we throw on the volume profile, you can see we're below the point of control here. And I would say, yeah, any kind of a break below 1350 is going to get you that next move down to 13,192. And let's take a look at S&P. And the S&P is definitely hit the measure move off of its rising wedge or rising channel, whatever you want to call that thing. And it is below the point of control with the next target down here at about 41.89. And yeah, anything below this guy at 41.50 is going to produce a pretty dangerous move, I'd say. And Yeah, this consolidation. Let's take a look at kind of a bearish retracement on what our next targets would be. And some people say buy when the cannons are blown, and sell when the victory trumpets are blown. Is that how it goes? I don't know exactly what the exact phrase is. Maybe Rob, I think you quoted that one last night. What's what it's sell when or buy when the cannons are fired, and sell when the trumpets are blown. There we go. And why is that? Well, historically speaking, markets do not like uncertainty. And uncertainty, well, we don't know if we're going into World War III or not, right? Or we don't know if the Ukraine-Russia deal is actually going to turn into a war, or is it just the media that is just trying to get everybody scared and make them watch the TV?
Chris, crypto banter. So he said this morning, he brought up something interesting. I guess, did the stock market rally a little bit after Biden gave his remarks yesterday?
The stock market did rally after Biden gave his remarks yesterday, and I thought that was odd as well, because to me, it basically sounded like Biden said, yeah, Russia is going to invade Ukraine. We have, they're bringing blood to the border. What did that mean when they're bringing blood to the border?
Here was the point that Crypto Banter was making. He said that it was the oil, because they didn't sanction the oil pipeline. That was like the big fear, was that oil and gas was going to like really skyrocket. And that's what kind of quelled a little bit of the fear. And then that's when the stock market started to rally a little bit. It was over. So the sanctions only were like, they were going to like sanction 5 of the wealthiest families in Russia, and then a couple of, but it had nothing to do with the oil. They weren't going to touch the oil or gas, because then that would have been like, that's how you get into a world war, because that's Russia's main income.
Source of income, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's really strange how we are so oil dependent. I drive a Tesla, so I no longer have to look at the gas pump. It's amazing. But apparently the rest of the world has not caught on to the electrical vehicles, and time to get to the future. But no, that's exactly what I saw when the market, when he gave his speech. I was like, holy crap, Russia is going to invade Ukraine, and that's going down, and the market should be tanking. The Dow was down, the Dow was down 600 points going into that meeting. By the time the meeting was over, it was only down 300. We are getting some more red today. You can see on the 4-hour, we are being governed down here by the 9 and the 21. And you already got the death cross playing out from way back here. And what else? So stocks,
another narrative, Chris, too, that I think someone brought up. It was a guy talking about the Federal Reserve and the policies that they're going to do. So it's because we have our voting, the midterms, right? So the Democrats are sucking rocks. Like, it's supposedly going to be like a historic landslide. So now the Biden regime has to like kind of, they got to like get their politics and build, they got to have a narrative that's positive they can spin. And so they want to like really quell the inflation. So according to a lot of insiders, that's so that, the Fed is going to do the rate hikes. And so, because the Democrats want to get reelected, because if we go into hyperinflation, it's going to be like an epic loss for those guys. So that's politically, that's a somewhat of a driver.
Interesting. I'm wondering if there is a date that is, is the Fed going to raise interest rates? Will the Fed, what is the date next month where this official rate hike is supposed to happen?
Isn't it March 1st? Or somewhere in March?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to look into that. Let's do a little research on that. What else? All right. So, yeah. So the charts don't lie, and that's exactly what I saw. As soon as I saw the market bounce up, I was like, okay, maybe I'm misinterpreting what I heard on the news from Biden. No doubt. It's some kind of false narrative they're shilling. And the real news was, that the sanctions were not as bad as I thought it was, and so the market bounced back, and that's again goes into the market doesn't like uncertainty. So once these announcements were made, right, certainty came back into play, and gave a little bit of a relief rally, but I still think the overall, this combined news, right? Interest rate hikes, war in Russia, the Nasdaq is already down pretty significantly. I mean, from the highs here, and it is in a daily downtrend, right? So what is an uptrend and what is a downtrend? Uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. A downtrend is a downtrend is a lower low and lower highs, right? Lower lows and lower highs. So what do we have here? This is the daily that's on the Dow here. And you can see the Dow's been one of the stronger ones. And so is S&P's actually been, I think, the strongest. But the Dow is down from its high to the current low, 9.5%. Let's look at Nasdaq. Nasdaq is down 18%. So, again, what's going to be the strongest one? 11%. Yeah. So I was right. The Dow has been the strongest, holding its weight to the downside versus the S&P and the Nasdaq. But on the flip side, right, it was also the weakest to the upside. So Nasdaq had the biggest rally to the north, right? It's gone straight to the moon over the last few years, alongside the whole entire market. So, what am I trying to get at here? Well, again, Mr. Putin is old in his age. Is he crazy enough to hit the red button? I don't think so. I hope not. Sincerely, for all of us. But that's the whole theory of mutual destruction, right? They have nukes, we have nukes, and it's like everybody's got nukes, so nobody's going to hit the button because we don't want the whole world to melt down. And this is why gold is rallying. You got inflation and you've got war on the horizon, and we all know Bitcoin is just a better form of gold, right? And in fact, Fidelity just called Bitcoin, quote, a superior form of money. They wrote a big article about it. We'll leave a link in the description below. They said it combines the best aspects of fiat currency and gold. And Bitcoin is currently trading at about 39,000. If we take a look on the daily, it is down 51% from the high, from where it's currently trading. We're down 43% from the high. And I am expecting, more likely than not, for Bitcoin to give a little bit of a bounce. Could we come a bit lower first, especially if Nasdaq wants to continue to melt down? Yes, I do think Bitcoin could swipe down around 35,000 again. But as I mentioned yesterday in the open interest, Let's see if this little program will let me. But open interest is currently sitting. It took a slight leg up today at 10.38 billion, and so we took a slight leg up from yesterday, and it's still basically not enough open interest to get an earth-shattering move and break, I think, below 35,000 or 34,000, somewhere in this range. But what I would say is this is, to get confirmation on a move to the upside or to the downside, I would be looking for a daily closure back above 46,000. That will give us a move up to about 52, or a daily closure below 33,000, and that is going to give us a probably earth-shattering move down to about 29, somewhere between 30 and 29,000. And so that's not very helpful. Another way some people would be looking at this, if they wanted to be a little more aggressive, right, you could go based off of closures. So that would be 45,000 or 44.6 to the upside and 35,000 to the downside. And then an even more aggressive approach would be something like this, using the Fibonacci retracement tool. And this is a bullish retracement. So you're taking the high here, the daily high at 44.5, and retracing it back to 37,000 right there. And here is where the classic bull traps come into place. And so if price action does want to come up here and gets rejected and then closes back below the 382, I would say that's confirmation of a bull trap, and very, very likely we are going to come back down to 35,000. On the other side, let's say price action goes and closes above 42, or call it 43,000 right here. That is typically a move, enough to give you a move back to the 100% read. But again, I would be waiting for closure conservatively above 45.8 on the daily time frame to get us full confirmation for a move up to this target up here. But I think you could also use this 44.6 region. Any kind of a daily closure above there, probably going to get you a move up to 49,000. And so that's how I'd be looking at that. So for Bitcoin, if we want to go and take a look at some of our other indicators, what else do we have? Trend, momentum, and volatility. So would we call this a downtrend on the daily? Yes, we're still in a daily downtrend. We did get, is that a bit of a higher low? I mean, higher high. Is this a confirmed higher low? No, I'd say what we would need to see is a daily closure above this guy right here. And that would confirm as a higher low in my book. And that, yeah, so that's how I'd be looking at that. And then let's take a look at our stochastics. They're still nosediving and won't be crossing up. So to cross it up, we need a daily closure above, call it 38,000. Are we going to get that today is the big question, because we are sitting well above that today. If daily Stokes do cross up from that low level, I would say, yeah, probably going to get a little bit more of a bounce. However, yep, so that's our stochastics. And what is volatility doing right now? It is beginning to curve down. I'd still say it has an upwards posture here. So probably going, expect volatility to price action to expand in the direction of the trend, which is down. I think we are still clearly in a downtrend, but we could confirm the beginnings of our first higher low on the daily time frame. So we got a higher high and a higher low, and that would be a bit of a reversal on the daily, which would be good. But I still think Bitcoin has quite a bit of headwinds going against it. What else did I want to bring up here? So let's look at some of the lower term time frames and see if we can get any kind of conclusions from that. I want to erase that blue box. I guess I will. So trend momentum and volatility there. We could get a bit of a reversal on the daily, which would be nice. And, I think whether Bitcoin does come back down to 35,000 or not, I do think it's probably in for a bit of a bounce. What else do we have here? So on the 4-hour Stokes are up. So momentum is up. And do we have any kind of a higher high and higher low going on? No, to me, this looks like, I guess that is a slightly higher low than this guy back here, which is the same thing on the daily. And that would be a confirmed higher low. Yep, so this is higher highs and higher lows. So really, Bitcoin's kind of in a pivotal moment here where they're going to get it picked back up above, towards probably 40,000, somewhere in this region, to test this base of support coming in right here at 41,000. But really, any kind of a bounce up here, if we don't get back above this purple 200 exponential moving average, and again, just a little review, this is the purple 200, the green 55, the yellow 21, and the 9 exponential. And the other thing that says this is probably a corrective bounce, if anything, is declining volatility. So you can see volatility is declining amidst this higher low. So that tells me probably not going to get a big bounce from here until volatility gets low. That's when you expect more of a bigger move. Okay, so that's it for the 4-hour. The 2-hour is crossing down here from a bit of a high level and will not cross back up unless Bitcoin gets back above 39,000. So that is looking good for some downside momentum, and that is a confirmed lower high, if you ask me. Definitely lower than this high right here and this high right here. So do we have any divergences going on? Again, we've got, everybody should have their divergence, bullish and bearish divergence on their desk, out and prepared. Pin it to your forehead. Everybody's got to figure out how to identify bullish and bearish divergence. And so, based on what we're looking at here on the 2-hour time frame, does anybody see any divergences going on here? Anybody want to take a stab? We got a slew of lower highs and a slew of higher highs on RSI. So what does that tell you? I will take a stab at it and say, okay, these are, let's see, sorry. Let's take it from this point here. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 drives, the 4 1, 2, 3, 4 higher highs in RSI. And the way you get into this pane, right, you just double click here and that will enlarge the pane for you. And what do we have here? Okay, we've got 4 higher highs, right? So there's no divergence there. But if we take this out a little bit further, let's say from this guy here, and from this point to this point, there's 1 higher high, 2, 3, 4. So there is 4 drives of bearish divergence. And again, what is bearish divergence? When prices make, hidden bearish divergence. So in the context of a downtrend, price is making lower highs, but RSI is making higher highs. And I am going to get a sip of water right here. So with 4 drives of divergence on a 2-hour and declining volatility, momentum turning down, is this going to get a move to the bottom side of the range? Typically what you'll look for with 4 drives is at least a move to the yellow 21. I would say even typically 4 drives should give you a move all the way to the bottom side of the range, which would put us back down at about 36.5. Excuse me.
Hey, so Chris, did you say this is hidden bearish divergence?
Correct.
Okay.
And why is that? We're in a downtrend, right? And again, this, I'm not perfect at doing this, guys, but what you can see is that price is making lower highs. Actually, bring it back to this one right here. So you've got all these lower highs. These are all lower highs than this high, right? This is a lower high. I wouldn't even call that a lower high. I guess this would be your confirmed lower high, and this is a confirmed lower high. So that should give you a move at least to the yellow 21, which is kind of already played out right now. And Nasdaq is picking itself back up here.
Yeah, I think the visual of it's a bit confusing because the white line that you drew is above, it's even above the wick.
Okay, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
like
meant
that.
to do like that.
Got it.
Yep. So this is slightly lower highs, and these are higher highs here. Does that make sense? There's 1, 2. This is, you see how this point is below the 50% read right there? This is above, this is above, this is above, and this is above. So slight divergence there, but let's move it down to our 1 hour. And again, on all these time frames, you can see volatility is just declining, right? So you want to see volatility down here to get a big explosive move. Even on a 30-minute. So on the 30-minute is the only one that's gotten down there, and volatility is expanding as we're putting in another lower high on the 30-minute. And momentum is about to cross up. Oh, it's got to cross up at 38,586. So we're at 38,499 right now. We don't really see any divergences. Or let's see if we see any divergences here. On the 30-minute, I'm just going to get rid of this guy. So how do we look for divergences on the 30-minute? It looks like a lot of them have already played out. And you can see this one gave us the move to the green 55 almost. And that would have been identified right there. So how would we have seen this? again, really hard to point out here, especially on a lower term time frame. I don't think I have a good example here at all. So we'll just skip that. And then I want to throw it up on a few other time frames that we should keep an eye on, because the 5-day is one of the, remember, the higher the term, the time frame, right? Excuse me. The higher the time frame, the more powerful the signature or the signal is going to be, right? So on the 5-day here, the first thing I'm noticing is we already got the silver cross right there, where the yellow 21 is crossing the green 55 to the downside. And that looks like a good cross, right? Remember, I've been saying you want to see price action sucked up into the cross and then kind of spits it back out. And that is typically going to be your good cross. What else? So we do have 5-day momentum still up to the upside. And in order for this to cross down, which this would be very bad if this happens, we need a 5-day closure below 36,300. If that happens, which is probably going to be this low right here. No. 36,300. Yeah, it's this guy right here. So if this were in the next 1 day and 7 hours to come back down there and close below there, I'd say that probably gets you a move all the way down to the purple 200 exponential right here, which is coming in at $30,050. And that, those kind of signals can play out over a week to 2 weeks. So a 5-day signal is going to not be immediate. So it's very important to differentiate the time frames that you're on when you're looking at these types of things. And then what else did I want to point out really quick here? What is this line? So this is on the weekly. The weekly is still holding it up. Okay. But it is in a downtrend. And a weekly downtrend is not good for Bitcoin at all. And this has pretty much determined macro bear markets for, the next 6 to 12 months. When you're in a weekly downtrend, you can expect us to be down for some time. And that's why, it's important to identify these trends. Okay, what else did I want to talk about on the weekly? Weekly Stokes will be crossed up as long as Bitcoin is above 35,100. The weekly is going to close here on Sunday, so in about 4 days. What else? On CMEs, the weekly is going to close on Friday. Remember, CMEs close on Friday. Does give us a bit of a bias buster, but if we do close CMEs somewhere with a candle like this with a long wick, that can be a signal of a reversal, and we are crossing up from a very low level here on the weekly time frame, which has produced some pretty significant bounces in the past. How do I get rid of all these lines really quick? I'm just going to erase them. Eraser, here we go. Okay, so yeah, look at this cross right here. Stokes cross up, and if you just blindly bought the cross, you would have bought it right here or right there, yeah. So on July 26th, where was price action on July 26th? It was right here. Would have got you a pretty nice move, and that is to the tune of, where's July 26th? Yeah, so you'd have bought right there. That's a 75% bounce right there. And going back to the one prior to that, which is similar, This one here was pretty much a failure because that was coronavirus dump time. But this one back here, February 11th, and I think it tends to work out a bit better on spot price action, that cross, but that's a 258%. Another thing we talked about last week before our last kind of live stream was what else did we talk about? We talked about on CMEs wanting to see the I believe it was the 3-day MACD cross to the upside or to the downside. Let's see. Putting up my secondary chart here. And no, we did not get the cross to the upside. And that is something I did point out, is that we did get the cross to the upside on spot price action right here, right? Which that's something Mr. Crown had pointed out. And I said, well, might want to wait for CMEs and see if we get the same cross. And in fact, we did not get that 3-day cross to the upside on CMEs. So there's a lot more price action on spot price because CMEs didn't debut until March 2018. Anyways, for whatever that's worth, histogram is decreasing to the downside. Let's see on the 2-day. We did get the 2-day cross on CMEs. So where are we at? The 5-day is down, down, down. The 4-day is, or sorry, the 4-hour is crossed up at the moment. And so, yeah, does this line up for a little bit more of a bounce? I think it's pretty much whatever Nasdaq does. And what is really funny, guys, if you guys watch Bitcoin and Nasdaq, they are trading so closely together that they might as well be the same asset, except for Bitcoin moves more to the upside and more to the downside, clearly, as Nasdaq is. I'm going to throw back on my regular chart here. Nasdaq is, again, from the high, we got Nasdaq down, I believe it was 18%. That's a pretty gnarly correction for stock market. I mean, people should be pretty fearful. People are not used to that kind of movement in stocks. And that is not looking good. Coming into the next month where they're going to raise interest rates. However, that might be the certainty that the market is looking for. If we know we're only going to get a 0.5 point rate hike next month, that's probably not enough to put even a small dent in the inflation. They're not tapering, right? So, yeah. Wrapping it up here on Bitcoin, I want to see a daily closure. I'd say above 45.5 to the upside or below 36.5 to the downside to get our next kind of decent sized move. And right now, we are being, this is on the 4-hour, really getting rejected off, I'd say, the green 55, which maybe we had some bullish divergence. Yeah, we did. That was the bullish divergence. Probably several drives of bullish divergence, which if you get more than 3 drives, typically you're going to get a move to the green 55, which is this guy right here. So again, where did that bullish divergence come from? All the way back here. And that's like 1, 2, 3, 4 drives. Or let's see, how many is that? 1. So 1, 2, 3. So 3 drives. Got it. Almost to the green 55, and close enough is close enough. All right, let's take a look at a few altcoins real quick, guys. And again, rule of thumb, typically altcoins are going to do whatever Bitcoin does, but more. And so you can see almost exactly we got the same thing going on here. The bullish divergence, one, coming all the way back from here. Several drives of bullish divergence, and on the 4-hour gets you a move up to the green 55. These Stokes are still pointed upwards on the 4-hour. Let's see what we're doing on the daily for Mr. Ethereum. Stokes are down. Volatility is trying to increase. And yeah, I'd say very, very likely, even if we get a small move back up to about $3,000, probably more than likely than not, we're going to get a move back down to 2,400. Do I think it breaks? Well, if Bitcoin breaks, that one probably breaks as well. Anything else to point out on the hourly? Hourly got the silver cross, and this would typically be your buying opportunity off the green 55 with a very easy way to manage risk. Momentum is down and volatility is decreasing. So is this going to be the best buying opportunity? I think not. And again, we're not giving financial advice here. We're not financial advisors. This is just giving some general information on what we were looking at on these highly esteemed altcoins. Let's take a look at Gala, which Gala.
Chris, you want to take a peek at AVAX?
Sure, I will. I will take a peek at AVAX as well. So Gala has been trying to hold itself up here on the daily time frame. I've been keeping an eye on this one because, well, some people were getting real bullish, including myself, up in this territory, but Bitcoin coming down just hurts everybody. It just doesn't help us out. But we are getting rejected off the 9 here, and I would say any kind of a daily closure below 21 cents, we're going to get a move back down to about 17 cents, somewhere in that region. But you can see that yesterday or today, we got a tick above this guy, which gives you a move typically to the 9. We've been talking about this for weeks. Close enough is close enough. And we're getting rejected alongside the rest of the market here. What else do we have on the hourly? So hourly is still putting in lower highs, and any kind of an hourly closure, I'd say, even on an hourly, below 22 cents, and I'm looking for, 21 cents to get tagged. Not a big move in cryptocurrency land, but that would be something like a 4% move. Put a little leverage on there on a 10x trade, you get you 40%. I don't recommend anybody do that ever. What else? What else would I say here? Okay, next one. AVAX. Let's take a look at AVAX. And this is on an hourly. Got the little silver cross coming down to the 21. Volatility is maxed out, already did max out. So that would have kind of been your, okay, maybe time to buy, maybe time to buy. But usually when volatility is way up here, this is telling me we're probably going into a bit of a correction. Also, this signature on RSI, when you're getting kicked out of the bullish control zone, probably going to get a bounce here because the RSI is so far away from the EMA on this. Probably in for a bounce sooner than later. They should really make a law. It's funny I'm saying this. A law for those dang telemarketers calling your phone. Like, I get calls like all day, every day from people. And I don't know if it's just me or my daughter used my cell phone to sign up for too many like silly things online, but wow. Really irritating, right, guys? Okay. Anything? So AVAX getting kicked out there. This is a bearish candle, and this is a bearish engulfing on the hourly. So that is a continuation candle to the downside. This is going to close in 2 hours and 21 minutes. So at least coming down to the green 55 at 76. And then you got momentum coming down and, lower highs. Probably looking for this one over time to come back down to about 67 cents. But let's look if we got anything else going on. Here's a death cross on the 4 hour. And you can see it wanted to do a death cross right there. Didn't quite get it. That's a perfect buy signal, actually, when all these exponentials get kind of sucked in together here. And then they don't cross down, but they cross up. Typically a good buy signal. And right there on that little, let's say you took that silver cross right here. That would have given you a nice move to the upside. Let's say you took it right here. 14%. Not bad. You can see this one gave you a nice move back there. But now we're doing the opposite, right? Silver cross to the downside. Price action gets sucked into the cross and throws it on down, right? And that gave you pretty much a perfect sell signal. Very similarly, this is a bearish candle. Just like this is a bearish candle. Yeah, this is not looking too hot on the 4 hour. Do we have any divergences? So price is making lower highs. RSI is making higher highs. And yes, this is going to confirm with any kind of a closure below this guy on the next 2 hours, you would have bearish divergence coming back from all the way from
Closure below where again?
right here,
79.
79.13. And it's probably going to get confirmed on the 2 hour right now. The 2 hour is going to close right now. And so do we have lower highs on the 2 hour coming back from here? Yes, we do. And this is probably coming down to doggy town. The only thing that doesn't tell me we're going to get a big move is volatility is still relatively high up there, right? If volatility was low and we had all this going, this is would be a perfect setup for a downwards move. And again, why is that? 1, 2, 3 lower highs. Shoot, I have a meeting at 10 a.m. I'm probably going to leave it off here today, guys. So we got 1, 2, 3 lower highs. And then you got 1, 2, 3 higher highs in RSI. And that is hidden bearish divergence. So that would give us a move at least to the bottom side of the range, which is probably going to be at least around $74. So with that, wishing you all well and a happy, wonderful day on Wednesday. We will be bringing you back another video here very soon. I'm going to sign out. Take care.